Just going from Gatwick to East Croydon by train. As I entered the train, there was an announcement. If you see anything that is not usual, if you suspect anything, say it, and it's sorted. Have you heard of that? Have you actually experienced it entering the train? And then they came up with a slogan, see it, say it, sort it. See it, say it, sort it. And I thought it has something actually to do with the reading of today, especially the first reading. Jeremiah, a prophet, whose prophecy is all about a faithful obedience to the commandments of God, to the law of God. Jeremiah's preaching was always for obedience to the commandment of God. And he remained steadfast in proclaiming such news. It came with oppositions. It came with obstacles. That at a time Jeremiah even lamented about the way he has been treated just because he was following God. But it did not stop him at all. And look at what he experienced today. Into the mud, Jeremiah sank. He was thrown into the pit without water, but filled with mud. What an inhuman treatment. Can you just begin to imagine what it would feel like being thrown into a pit, even if it's filled with water? Imagine what it would feel like. But Jeremiah was thrown into that pit filled with mud. What was his offense? Because God told him to tell the king of Judah, the priests, and the princes that they should surrender to Babylon. Because if they do not surrender, they would die. They were at war with each other, and Babylon was overpowering them. And God looked and said, surrender now or you die. For there is light at the end of the tunnel. Friends, sometimes surrendering can be shameful, but bear in mind it is the will of God so that we may live. God's will is that we have life and have it in abundance. He wants us to live. And once there is life, they say, there is hope. After Jeremiah's prophecy, the people rallied round and had him thrown into the pit because they thought he was blaspheming. He was saying things he shouldn't say. He was belittling Judah. But right there in the pit, Jeremiah did not die. He did not succumb to the oppression of the people against him. No, he did not. There was hope. God sent Ebed-Melech to go and rescue Jeremiah. Friends, whenever we serve God, whenever we make that choice of obeying the will of God, we must face certain consequences. Of course, there must be oppositions, but there must always be an Ebed-Melech to rescue us. God sent Ebed-Melech to go and speak to the king on behalf of Jeremiah. Ebed-Melech would have maybe said to himself, I should shut up so that I will not be tagged as they did Jeremiah and may be thrown into the pit. You know what the world of today looks like. You know how it looks like in our world of today. There are certain things you cannot say in the marketplace. There are certain things you cannot tell people, even when you know you should be speaking out against them. But you cannot do that because they may tag you as being unloving, as being inconsiderate, as, belittling people. They may tag you as one, but you cannot say them. Friends, we need to stand up like Ebed-Melech did today, and knowing that God is with us whenever we wage that war and fight that battle, that God is always with us. Ebed-Melech did not succumb to fear. No, he stood up. He went to the king. He spoke to the king. And by the grace of God, listen, God's grace will always follow whenever we wish to do that which is right. The king listened and said to him, take men immediately and go and rescue Jeremiah. And that happened. With God, all things are possible. In our gospel reading today, Jesus talks about division. That's, I know when you were listening to that, you may be thinking, what is this all about? Why should Jesus be talking about division? I thought he has come to unite everyone, isn't it? I thought he has come to make everyone one. He has come to make sure things are, righteous and the bad, everything just should be one. That is what Jesus actually has come to do. But listen, whenever we make a choice for light, bear in mind that darkness would always want to overshadow us. The war is not between me and you. The war is between light and darkness. Which one should we follow? We should stand by the light so that the light of Christ will light up our way. There is war between children even in schools today, in primary schools and high schools. I tell you, some of our altar servers maybe, some of our young people may go to school. They are afraid to identify as Catholics, as Christians. They are. Because of fear of what their friends would say to them. Because they may be oppressed. In our workplaces, we may be afraid to speak out, to express our faith, our belief in God, because of what our colleagues would say to us. Even in between our families, we are afraid to identify perfectly, permanently, consistently as Catholic Christians because there is someone within our family that is unbelieving. We are afraid. That is what Jesus is talking about today. If you have made that choice to follow me, bear in mind there are people who are not able, who do not want to, and they must face you. They must oppress you. But I am always there for you. In Psalm 37, he says, many are the oppressions of the righteous, but to them all, God will deliver him. Friends, we pray today and ask God to grant us the courage to stand out, to speak out against unjust oppression, to speak out against injustice, to speak out against sin, to speak out against violence, to stand always for that which is right, believing that God will deliver us even when we face situations that are against us. Amen.